Systemic functional linguistics relates to genre based on the functions of language. Language is functional because its structure shows the multiple purposes for which it was initially created. The function of language is theorized as three meta-functions accompanied by the three contextual variables. The ideational or conceptualization function explains the representation and construction of language experiences. The conceptualization of ideas is related to the contextual variable field, such as the legal discipline, which impacts choice of vocabulary, for example. The interpersonal function clarifies the character of relationships constructed by language use and is related to the contextual variable tenor, as in sense or meaning. Tenor affects expressions of attitude, necessity, obligation, and probability. The textual function of language recalls the structuring of language to produce coherent meaning, conveyed in the patterns of written or spoken texts. The textual function of language is related to the contextual variable mode that determines the style of genres. A genre-based pedagogy provides an explicit and systematic explanation of how language functions in social contexts. It is therefore a socially grounded theory with its roots in texts and contexts. Language is contextually situated and purposive. Through genre, one learns why texts make certain linguistic and rhetorical choices in their communicative purposes. Genre pedagogy includes systemic functional linguistics, English for specific purposes, and the new rhetoric. For our purposes, I will only focus on the ESP and new rhetoric as pedagogical approaches. According to Swales, a genre could be regarded as a metaphorical endeavor. The following metaphors provide multifaceted views of genre. Genres are frames of action, guiding principles for achieving purposes using language. Genres are language standards, expected conventions of layout and language. Genres are prototypes. Examples of a genre are more or less similar to core templates. And genres are speech acts, the conventional actions a genre is intended to perform. The new rhetoric studies regard the relationship between text and context as important and argue that certain situations require genre to perform certain actions. The new rhetoric encourages research and analysis of the social contextual functions of genres instead of the formal textual features of genres. Genre is a reply to social circumstances that are elements of a socially constructed reality. Miller considers the use of genre as a practical art that allows us to achieve certain social goals. What then are the possible value principles derived from natural law and constructive interpretation that could be used to improve the legal English curriculum? Similar to law, the curriculum is a social practice that should be improved through reinterpretation. The aim is not the curriculum as it is, but as it ought to be. Curriculum development should not stagnate, but develop seriatim. Similarly, pedagogical scaffolding could be used to impart structured knowledge and motivate gradual independent participation in the discourse community. Pedagogues and instructors should attempt holistic views of the curriculum, since the curriculum is part of a much larger social discourse. The curriculum is not the privileged domain of pedagogues and instructors, but should rely on the input of everyone involved in its pedagogical life. What value principles for legal English teaching could linguistic theory deliver? Similar to language, the curriculum could be seen as a system of pedagogical choices with social purposes. The curriculum's ideational function enables it to conceptualize. The legal English curriculum should conceptualize its constituting parts through informed pedagogical choice-making. As language constructs interpersonal relationships, the legal English curriculum should bind the cross-cultural legal discourse community. And legal English teaching could produce coherent meaning through certain textual patterns such as legal genres. Possible pedagogical value principles include the following. As English for specific purposes accentuates the formal characteristics of genre, the legal English curriculum should exhibit a level of formalism that reifies its goals and expectations without being too flexible to appear insubstantial or too rigid to appear dictatorial. Through its communicative purpose, the curriculum should establish interdiscursivity between theory and practice. The legal English curriculum should establish an interdiscursive relationship between itself as text and the diverse contexts within which it functions. Finally, the curriculum is socially constructed and should therefore reflect the cross-cultural dimensions of the international classroom. In conclusion then, the legal English curriculum, like other curricula, is situated in a position of perpetual flux, characterized by concepts such as social historical endeavor, multidirectionality, interdiscursivity, constructive interpretation, and contextualization. Legal English curriculum development could be seen as a pedagogical chain novel constructed into being through socially situated cross-cultural interactions. The translation of interdisciplinary value principles to the cross-cultural English for academic legal purposes setting attempts to find the elusive and delicate balance between a dynamic, evolving curriculum and the stability that existing meta-narratives provide. It attempts to find the balance between academic requirements and professional needs, and between collective social contexts and individual circumstances. Sources cited are listed in the conference article accompanying this presentation. Feedback would also be appreciated and could be directed to the address below. Thank you for listening.